So when I have those conversations, I ensure that even in the first few sessions and the first initial conversations, I really probe and understand exactly what they're trying to achieve. It's one thing to say, okay, well, the platform's going to do this, but what's your overall, and how do we align that with the technical stuff and the process stuff? And often, like I said, there's a thin layer on top that other partners, will speak to, but really at the end of the day, all they're doing is putting a shine on top of the platform. Because we differentiate is the layer that sits in between the platform and the process. Because it's one thing to go in and do a technical implementation, but if it doesn't align and doesn't improve or uplift their processes, what are you doing? It's not going to work. I've seen where customers have spent millions and millions of dollars. And this is a literal example of what they make. Literal millions of dollars. My time in Big Four has taught me and shown me that there's more to it than just a technical aspect. And so that's what we bring at our boutique level. So all the Big Four can do it, but there's not many partners in our space that actually can advise as well as implement. Yet true transformation and true uplift, I will say, requires a lot of trust building in the beginning and demonstration that you actually understand what that means.
Running a business can feel lonely, especially when the decisions get heavy. Welcome to CEO Whisperer by Saurabh Jain. Practical insights from the boardroom and the meditation cushion. I'm Saurabh. I've done 10,000 hours in 3 major parts of my life. I've spent 10,000 hours being a CEO, 10,000 hours being a board member, and 10,000 hours meditating. What we're going to do in each episode is really unpack a real business challenge that a CEO is facing and see if we can work through it together. Enjoy.
G'day guys, Saurabh here, CEO Whisperer. Today I've got Merv from Agiro with me. Merv, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a ITSM and technology practitioner. Have been in the industry for coming up to my 20 years. Within that time frame, I've been in the ServiceNow space. And for those that don't know, ServiceNow is a SaaS platform, basically taking manual processes across organizations and automating it. So big now, I could spend the next hour telling you through, but it does ITSM, HR, SecOps, whole bunch of stuff. And so I've been in that industry for quite a while now. Previous to starting Agiro, I was at Deloitte for a couple of years where I built out their ServiceNow practice, and then thought, Big Four's not for me. And so I jumped ship and started and haven't looked back since.
And how's the journey been over the last little while?
Interesting. Very, very interesting. It's never linear. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. And, it's just something that, you're constantly learning and also, constantly having to figure out. So it's been fun for the most part.
Yeah. So the way we do this podcast is we try to pick a business from that you're currently facing. We talk through and workshop that together. So what's something that's top of mind for you now?
Yeah, for me, and it's based on the question around that, the journey and going and starting a business and the rest of it. So really about, you wear multiple hats as a founder, as a CEO, just in general. And throughout my journey, I've really struggled with trying to do everything, and also being okay with not being able to do stuff, right? Because you feel like your responsibilities, everything's on your shoulders. And one of the key things to specifically call it out, I'm not a salesperson, right? So going in and starting a business, that's definitely a tech person. I get the platform. I've been on the platform for a lot of years. I've built up practices, but that was one of the key things I really, really, really struggled with because I've never done it, right? In essence. And so recognizing that and accepting it was a big thing, because, you want to do great in everything. It's your baby, it's business, and you just keep at it. And I came to the realization, there's the gap. That's the gap. Sales is the gap. I mean, there's other things there that, I'm not doing the best at, but you're able to, like I said, figure it out. But sales is so specific and it's so organic and it's so, I feel there's an art to sales.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, either sales or not sales. And so, yeah, it's true.
And it's probably two parts what you said. It's like, how do you let go of certain things?
Yes.
And then how do you fill the gap if sales is not your thing? Like, which of those two are more top of mind for you?
It's more so, it's a bit of both, to be honest with you, but also filling the gap, more so going, okay, well, how do I solve this problem? Because identifying it is half, it's half the problem, half the step, sorry, but then going, okay, well, we know that we've got this problem here. How do we fix it? And how do I know that it's fixed well? If I'm not a domain specialist, how do I know, other than, okay, the numbers are great and people agree, revenue and the rest of it, but are they the right salesperson for the organization? Or even take sales, are they the right CFO, are they the right HR person, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you rely on the fee, right? They're the ones that are meant to be driving that key part of the business and going advising and going, hey, this is how we do it. And often what I felt, in the beginning is you rely on a lot of people and the expectations aren't always aligned, because, they have their experience, they have their ways of doing things and the rest of it. And if you don't fully understand the nuances of what they're doing, it's hard to say it's successful, but it's also hard to say it's not successful.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed, and not to jump around, I've noticed that a lot of people say to take the marketing domain. If you don't get marketing, it can seem like there's nothing happening. Where's the ROI? Where's the impact and the rest of it? But that's making a difference. But if you don't know, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
So it's that same sort of mindset, understanding that it is working, or also having the trust to go, okay, well, maybe it's not, or trusting yourself.
And you have the stage where you're ready to recruit a salesperson?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, where we're at is a very exciting, phase and stage of the company. We've been operated for almost 5 years now, and we're getting to it at the next level of maturity. So, we've been out of startup stage for a while, and we're in that still early scale up stage. But, one of my goals has been to expand overseas. And the dream of mine, I've always been the US. I think I guess spoken about that in the past. And what has happened is that we've organically had success in the UK. And so for me, it's like, well, you can't ignore where you're getting success. It's nice, there's the nice shiny door, the US and the rest of it, but that's been parked. And so the UK is the next step. And so to answer your question, I am actively.
So now you're looking for a sales rep. So here's the question, how do I make sure I get the right person?
Yes.
And then how do I manage it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. That's it.
How do I get the right salesperson?
Yep. And then what does management look like?
Yeah.
To your question, back to the earlier question and to the point I was making is like, well, I've never managed direct salespeople before.
Yeah.
What do they need? What are their expectations? Are you setting them up for success?
Yep.
Because it's well and good to sell. You never sold anything, but it's like you never get anything. Meant to tell them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
They have to get what they need to be able to perform at their best.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more about what do you offer? What do you offer to clients? Why do people buy from you today?
Absolutely. So within the ServiceNow ecosystem, every partner offers professional services, right? And every partner with this soul can go in and implement ServiceNow from Greenfield. Where we differentiate is the layer that sits in between the platform and the process, because it's one thing to go in and do a technical implementation, but if it doesn't align and doesn't improve or uplift their processes, then what are you doing? It's not going to work. I've seen previous companies. I've seen where customers have spent millions and millions of dollars. And this is a literal example of what they made. Literal millions of dollars. They went live and the teams that were not using it, we can't. It doesn't work. And I'm like, wow. So I've seen up front and in person the effects of not ensuring that it's that translation leg. So my time in Big Four has taught me and shown me that there's more to it than just a technical aspect. And so that's what we bring at our boutique level. So all the Big Four can do it, but there's not many partners in our space that actually can advise as well as implement.
So you guys do the business processes and the so that kind of makes sense. And how do you do that? Do you When people on start to do that remotely, is it doing both? Like, what's
Yeah, but
organic?
it's a bit of both. And that's a really good point, because when we started, there weren't too many actual partners that owned their own offshoring company that were like contracting to contract to contract. We have Agiro in India. It's part of, I'm the owner of that company in India. And so we own the outcomes. There are our employees, best practices, frameworks, all that sort of stuff. So we have the engagement layer offshore. So we'll have people in the office if needed, we've got BAs, we've got project managers, architects, and the rest of it. And then all the heavy lifting, all the technical stuff is done offshore. Now, some customers they're happy with that, because what that does is we can aggressively be, very, very specific with our commercials to lowest cost. For some customers, because of data federation, the rest of it, they have to have offshore, which we can do as well. I've got the UK, actually UK, I've got a developer in the UK, I've got an architect in the UK as well, and then I've got a bunch of junior developers in the US that we're training off and getting ready from the expansion.
And then for the local guys, do they tend to be on site at client sites? Do they, or at your office, or both? Or
Bit of both. And then, obviously with the whole, shape up with COVID, a lot of customers are still preferring virtual. Even though, and I like being virtual, I like going and having these workshops and the whiteboards and the rest of it. I'm like, no, we're fine. We could do virtual, even we're in Australia. But some customers are like, well, we'll do some parts in office, and then we'll do some parts in virtual. So it's a bit of a mix.
And so when you start, so you'll tell, hey, do the technical side, your business process, mapping, re-engineering, what a bit of change, a bit of training. How do clients receive that? Is that like a no-brainer for them? Because I imagine every says that.
Yeah.
If they do more of the technical side and not the other side.
Absolutely. So it's really about those initial conversations and establishing the trust and capability that you can do it. Because you're absolutely right. A lot of partners go, oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll map the process, we'll do this and this and that. But customers that actually understand their problems will look at those conversations and go, well, how deep is it? I can see that you're only going to go to this level because the things that you're saying are very superficial. So when I have those conversations, I ensure that even in the first, I do speak a little bit, even in the first few sessions and the first initial conversations, I really probe and understand exactly what they're trying to achieve. Because it's one thing to say, okay, well, the platform's going to do this, but what's your overall goal? And how do we align that with the technical stuff and the process stuff? And often, like I said, there's a thin layer on top that other partners, will speak to. But really, at the end of the day, all they're doing is putting a shine on top of the platform. Because, and that's fine. Some customers just want that. Some customers, hey, give us the platform. That's cool, But
that's the goal.
Exactly. True transformation and true uplift, I will say, requires a lot of trust building in the beginning and demonstration that you actually understand what that means. A lot of the key things too, I'll just add to that, Saurabh, is that one of my, I feel, critical parts of success for uplifts and transformation is people. Because at the end of the day, you're taking something that someone has been doing for maybe even 15 years, and you're changing their whole way of working. And so really getting to that layer and unpacking what that means, and making sure that the organizational change management is all part of it. Those conversations there really give the customer a different perspective. Okay, well, and there's a depth.
Yeah.
Okay.
But tell me about your sales process. Like today, if you got the last client signed up or any more recent one, talk me through what happened from start to finish, or what generally happens.
Yeah, so I'll generally right now, because again, I'm doing everything. I'm very, very fortunate that ServiceNow supports us in terms of their account executives. So they'll have a customer that will either be in the initial conversations of, hey, we want ServiceNow, or hey, we've got this new module, or we have this problem on the platform. So if it aligns with who we are as a company and cultural fit with that, they'll call me up and, hey, Merv, can you join me in this call? Let's have a chat.
These produce multiple partners, or they just have one partner for it?
So it's really good question. For these new greenfields, it is their process, and they have to follow. They have to introduce. But that's just standard, regardless of how whatever the situation is. So they'll introduce 3 partners. The customer may initially just go, I just want to talk to them. That's it. Or I want to talk to all three and then we'll move on.
So will the customer already decide to buy the tech at this stage, or are they still evaluating?
Bit of both. So we get brought in sometimes early before, like just as the, hey, we're looking at Microsoft, we're looking at XYZ and ServiceNow. How does it work? And we take them through that. They've never seen ServiceNow before. They just,
Why does ServiceNow pull you into that? Wouldn't they do that themselves? Wouldn't they be more effective to do that themselves?
it depends on what the customer needs. And that's a really good point. So there's a lot of customers that are very tactical and just at that point, they're just like, I just want to see it. I just want to see it. And I don't care about anything else. But there's other customers that that need that depth. And so that's why I'll bring someone like me so I can give them the full picture, because again, that customer is not just looking at a point solution. You're going to how do we transform the way that we do this either across the organization or in HR.
Yeah.
So
and how does ServiceNow pick you guys? And there's about hundreds of items like that.
There's a lot. Yeah.
Besides, being top of mind with the account manager, which I'm sure is super important.
Yeah.
Like what scenario? What happens in the client's world to make them think, oh, great, that Agiro is the right partner for this call?
This sort of what I've been told, right, is a lot of the times we've been successful with customers based on cultural fit, which I find so interesting.
What do you mean by cultural fit? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's right, because that's what I've been told. And it's really about, at the end of the day, as it's sales 101, people buy from people, right? And so at the end of the day, from a partner perspective, if they're just talking, say, ITSM, that's bread and butter. Every partner should be able to do that. So when you're getting evaluated in an ITSM implementation, all three partners are going to do the same thing. Now, there could be a differentiator with price. These guys are cheaper, rest of it. There could be a differentiator with brand. These guys are, Big Four, whatever. But the intangible is, can I work with these people? Can I see the next 6 months? And that's where
I wonder whether ServiceNow is giving you fluff there, because
why is that?
Because cultural fit, right? I mean, I can't imagine there's a client that you were not going along with, and I can't imagine there's anything in ServiceNow that you have known over the last 5 years that you're probably going to do.
Yeah.
So you theoretically culturally fit to everybody.
Yep.
Yet at some stage they pick you, at some points they don't. Whereas you choose a bit of a lottery. Do they have to pass them around? Is it your relationship with your account manager?
It's that. It's 100% that. I know it's also commercials as well, because a lot of partners will, especially the large partners that can do that, will go super, super, super low, because they're not too worried about their margins when they've got a bunch of people on bench that they have to, get billable. So that's a major factor. But at the end of the day, it's what I've been told. It's really about that personal connection and how they feel after the calls that we have. And all the time.
I get the benefit. I don't get the after that you. I'm married to you.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how the leads connect to the machine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sometimes like, what will make ServiceNow account manager pick you when they might have 5 good implementation to do? Like, great, these guys do a good job. I'll pick them every time.
Yeah.
They might not even know you, so they won't pick you, or just pick the guys that they generally know.
That's right.
I guess if they're like a huge organization, they might want to work with the big 4 brand, or if they're very small, they might want 1 or 2 man shop.
That's right.
So you'll probably get the ones in the middle. Then
we get the ones in the middle, to smaller space, because again, I think for them, from a sales perspective, it does usually start commercially. This customer is too small; they're not going to be able to afford that. Yeah. Right? Where are they going to sit from a commercial perspective? And then from there, there is a level of expertise, right? Because if we've, we're getting into the SecOps space now, right? So we've got a few wins under our belt with regards to that. So if out of the 3 partners, we're the only ones that have actually implemented SecOps, obviously that's, what I mean? So stuff like that, it is commercially all size wise.
So can I get that if you're on the list of 3?
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out, like, how does one get on the list of 3?
Yeah, it's relationships. I've known these. The industry's small, right? So I've known a bunch of people for quite some time, quite a long time.
So they know you, they trust you, they work with you, or the experience.
That's it.
So then, do you get invited to almost all the ones that fit that big market? Okay, good. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's probably our strongest pipeline, because I'm not out there doing digging. We actually have, like, here's a point here. We've never done specifically go-to-market marketing campaigns from the beginning of the company. But we've always relied on my relationships and from a customer base perspective and from a ServiceNow perspective. So this year, 2026, is going to literally be the first time we actually go cold marketing and going out to market with an offering in that way.
And is the volume from ServiceNow alone enough to give you the growth you need?
It has been, yes.
And will it be in the future?
I don't know. For what I'm trying to do now, absolutely not. And the key thing is, well, going into a net new region, the way my mindset and the way I'm looking at it is no one knows this thing, right? I'm starting a company again, ultimately in the UK. So it's, I've got, great people like here and the industry's small and the rest of it, but being here for forever, we've got to do that again. And so to your point, we can't rely on that level of relationship pipeline. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I get that for the UK because about you don't know the ServiceNow or FCA, it'll take you a little bit to get credibility.
Correct.
But in Australia, I think you get enough to give you the growth you want, or you want more than
I want more. I definitely want more. I think we've hit the ceiling, right? And in the beginning I was saying that the next phase is where we're at right now. Hence why I think the marketing and the go-to-market strategy is really important to supplement and complement what we're getting from the ServiceNow ecosystem to be able to, get us to the next stage.
And when you get called into a deal with ServiceNow, look, what's your win rate? If there's 2 people on average, if it's more than a third?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because
out of the last 10 deals you were in, do you win almost all? Do you win half? Do you win 5%?
I would say just under half. Just under half, yeah.
And the ones you don't win, do you ever get feedback like, why didn't they pick you? No. They can't know. They probably just don't get told. Or...
They don't get told. They just go, we're going with X.
Yeah.
And I don't ask. I just go, okay, well, we didn't win. I move on to the next one. I don't really dwell on, why. I mean, I would be good for continuous improvement, I guess, to get that feedback, but it's never asked. It's a good question. It's on point, actually.
Then why have you never asked? Just so you understand.
I'm just focused on the next. I just like, okay, we're going to start. We're going to go, I've got, so many things happening that I just can't dwell on that not happening. But I think as we get to the next stage where things go slightly more strategic and the sales are tactical and we're, scrambling just to get to that next stage, then we can really start to refine it. I think also as well, it's really good point. So I think also as well, when you build that sales capability, we're going to have to do that. Okay, guys, why didn't we win? What were the gaps or what was the feedback? I think that's going to be the next phase.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's probably 3 parts to that. Is once you do, if you knew, that's what you see through the conversion, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, for example, they might say, "Oh, look, these guys were great, but the ratio of onshore and offshore staff is wrong for us."
Yeah,
that might be a totally fixable thing.
Yeah.
You didn't know, so you won't know to do that next time. Or they might be like, "These guys were great. Merv was amazing. Oh, he's like the CEO. He still works with us. I didn't get to meet the actual guy."
Yeah.
So there might be a dozen different things that might, if you knew why you aren't winning, you might be able to adjust to kind of push up that conversion rate, perhaps.
Yeah.
The other part of it is the experience is when you get your salesperson is they're very good at making excuses.
Okay.
So a core competence of a salesperson is to manage up.
Okay.
Is to tell their CEO everything's great and the deal's just about to come, just about to done. And if they lose it, to blame shift to something else.
Okay.
And you probably want to know, what are the credible reasons people don't go with us? So the sales rep says, the reason was, I don't know, we had the staff of India and they want people in the Philippines at times, for example.
Gotcha.
You should know, is that a legitimate objection? Or it might be bullshit.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. Yeah. Okay. No, that's, hey.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Take that on board.
Yeah. So, as what said now, so you've got one account manager, and then do you network with many account managers?
No, there's a handful. I'm going to have 100%. It's wouldn't be able to grow.
So each account manager has their own segments or field or look or industry.
Yeah, more literally vulnerable and account size and also region as well. So Melbourne and Sydney. And quite interestingly, we're finding a little bit more traction in Melbourne right now, which is kind of, it was always Sydney based, and up until last year now, we've got more Melbourne customers in Sydney.
Right. And so the new salesperson you're thinking, are they going to work with these account managers or will you keep that relationship yourself?
Yes, 100%, because I'm going to step away. Right? I can't be in the weeds when it comes to sales. I'm still going to be involved, but they're definitely going to be the primary and the key relationship funnel for service. Now, I also have an amazing delivery lead that's just joined us as well. She's going to also be part of that process. So, as you know, she manages our support customers, and she manages obviously the professional service project stuff. But with support customers and people that we've worked with in the past, it's all about, well, what can we do next? How else can we help you?
Mhm.
And so, they're working the ServiceNow guys, it makes sense to be able to partner.
You've got to explore work out of clients.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you, let's say, you get a salesperson on and you got a gal, you're on your team, like with 3 to 6 months, you introduce them to all the account managers, the career start early to them. Who's going to do the pre-sales?
So we've got a architect here in Australia that does it for the Australian customers. The Judge that I'm just bringing on in the UK, he's got pre-sales skills as well. So I don't do technical pre-sales anymore. I used to, so glad I don't have to do it. So we have got people that.
Do you go to the first meeting with the partners today?
Yes.
And are you the guy that talks about ServiceNow capabilities?
Yes.
Do you talk more about your company?
Both. So I guess
So I do that kind of task.
So that I think still for the foreseeable future should still be me, right? To relay that story, to give them the foundation and understanding of who we are as a company. No one's gonna get that sense of it across the board, right? So I'll still do that. I still want to do that, right? Because I love those conversations, those initial ones, and getting to know them and understanding them, right? And connecting with them. So I'm still going to do that. But then when they go, okay, well, we want a demo next week, that's when I have, and this is what's already happening, starting to happen now.
You ask the different person,
I've got it with the delivery person, I've got the architect, and they smashed it out.
Yeah. Okay. So how much of your time today is actually caught up in the sales side of things? So if I don't guess, not a lot, because the leads are coming from your ServiceNow partner, sorry. They're doing the pre-sales work for you in terms of finding the lead, telling you how to come on, they'll give you some sort of brief.
Yep.
And you literally come along as like the pre-sales company expert.
That's right.
And then you hand it to the delivery person that does the more detailed stuff.
Yes.
How much of your time is being sucked up by that?
Interestingly, 80% of the time, because there's so much now.
And so there's so many leads coming on each other.
That's right. Both. But there's been a ramp up over the last year with both from an economic perspective, when climate's changed, people starting to open up and spend more, but also there's been a lot of ramped up demand for ServiceNow, especially in our space as well, the SMB space. And so the questions, the proposals, the meetings, there's a lot. And because it's for me, I have to balance my time. And there's still a bit of delivery that I'm finishing off that I started a year ago before our delivery lead had jumped on. I was a jet, right? I got to close that out. So there's a balance between delivery and sales right now, and then leading the company and all the admin, boring stuff.
Yeah. But if volume's ramping up, why do you need to look outside ServiceNow? Like one of the things you said was the salesperson going to try to find cold leads as well.
Yes.
Is the ramped up volume from ServiceNow not enough to not need cold leads, or do you need that as well?
So in terms of that offering, it's 2 layers to it, right? So yes, to increase pipeline demand and getting customers just net new from an overall revenue perspective. But this is also the first time in Agiro that we're being specific in terms of our offering. We're a generalist, and we'll do whatever.
Anything in ServiceNow. Yeah.
So this donor marketing is all based on AI. So we're going out to market and saying, we are AI specialists. We can take you on your AI.
AI ServiceNow specialists.
Correct. AI ServiceNow. And so it's more so about being very pointed on what we do rather than going, we just do ServiceNow, which is, what the AEs have been doing. And it's all, it's like it's just hard enough. They'll get us in where it's in it. But now we're saying, hey, we do this. And so yes, it is to get more customers, but it's to get specific customers. That's that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. So what have you done so far as a finding salesperson? What's the process you go through?
Just basically putting a job out there and,
Go on like on LinkedIn and Seek or whatever.
exactly. Just, and I've had some interesting applicants, I will say, over the last couple of months. I've had some really great conversations as well. So I feel that we're sort of almost there.
Is there, help me understand the difference. Is it more like a 100K person or 150 or 250K person? Like what range is this kind of the best for this?
Yeah, it's 100 to 150 range.
Okay.
Right.
So they probably someone with 5 to 7 years experience.
Correct.
They're probably like late 20s by now.
Yes.
They probably hopefully worked a bit large and now they want their next role.
Correct.
Okay.
That's literally who I was speaking to. Literally. A little bit younger though, which I've noticed, which is great.
Yeah.
They've come from a bigger company. They've did their time there. They feel like, okay, well, what's my next stage? Oh, what's my next step? This has come up. This looks interesting, and I want to understand more. And so, I get it. It's a big risk jumping into a net new entity in a new region. I get it. So the people
From their perspective,
from that perspective,
yeah, people don't think about it.
that's what I'm saying. So
Don't think about free.
that's why I've sort of been speaking to the more younger type.
Probably romantic. They don't have mortgages yet.
Well, I always say, what's correct?
Yeah.
Just to sort of see where they're at. And actually, one guy has, I will say. But no, they're the type of people I want to work with. The risk takers, the people that are willing just to jump in and just.
They're the only people that will probably fight.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that will be attracted by something like yours. And how are you screening? Like how are you figuring out this is a good person, this is not a good person? Like what's that process for your mind?
For me, when I have these conversations, I'll talk about specific, tangible, again, how well do you know ServiceNow and the rest of it, and what have you done and all that, right? And what have you sold? And, you go through that list of the actual hardcore skill sets. But as I'm talking to them, for me, I'm evaluating, like, can I see this person in front of the CTO selling them one bar? Can I not be in the room and have this person describe it?
And what are you looking for? Like what tells you they can, what tells you they can't?
So it's position. Because I've been in the service industry for that long, there's nuances of how you explain what the platform could do, both from a C-suite perspective, a technical perspective, because you've got to marry both depending on your audience, right? But it's also how do you communicate that value very quickly? Because what service, I don't care about service. Tell me how it's going to work. Yeah, how's it going to solve my problem? And so the way that they describe things, the way that they communicate, shows me that they can navigate those conversations. And it's, swap out through technology apps and Microsoft, right? The Microsoft person will be looking there. Well, how would they explain them? So it's no science to it, but it's more so the nuances for me.
Okay. Because that makes sense. It's probably huge. I don't know. They're going to be able to explain to a CEO or to a CTO or I mean, and if they're going to have different needs and a little bit different ways of explaining.
Correct. Yeah.
And what else are you looking for?
So someone that can really hustle. For me, the key is hustle, right? Because they're going to be one of the first boots on the ground in the UK. And
so the salesperson making this.
Yes, specifically in the UK. I don't need to hire a salesperson here because I'm doing that.
Yeah, but they need to be that way.
I do that right now because we're expanding. The key is to fill the gap there. There's going to be probably overlap. I'll probably get them to help me out with sales stuff across here. And even from a structural process perspective, they're going to have that input to help us improve sales. And to your point, I really like that. What can we do wrong? All that sort of stuff, right? That's going to be the stuff that they can help. But to your point, hustle. They got to be just willing to get dirty.
How are you pulling that out your interview process?
What they've done before. And a lot of what piques my interest when they've done the really crappy door knocking.
So they've lost their core reluctance. They're happy to pick up the phone. That's everybody.
Correct. Yeah, correct. That's what you need. That's tenacity. Now, do I want to be a company that goes out harassing people? No, but you have to have that fortitude and that tough.
You've got to overcome that fear.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. You're either that. What I've learned, throughout this journey, hunters and farmers. Right. You're either a hunter or a farmer. I haven't met someone that's both. And so right now we need a hunter. Net new, need someone to go out there and just knock down the many doors. It's a numbers game right now. And then you hire the farmers where we've got, a bunch of logos. How can we expand?
Yeah. What's the probability of success of this guy or gal that you get, do you reckon?
So I've got to be pragmatic, and I've got to
Not
be
percentage right? But
yeah.
and what's the chance that they're going to be employed in 12 months' time?
I would say right now 70%, because I'm not making these hires, or I'm not making these decisions based on limited runway, right? So I'm not sort of being that. Um, I'm not gambling that much, right? So if they're able to make their probation, I think then we're going to be in a very strong position, and that's the key. And if they don't, they don't. Then we move on.
And historically, in your experience, what do you see in the success rate for ServiceNow salespeople?
Well, we've never had. Are you talking about Agiro? Or
Yeah, generically, people like partners will have sales reps that turn over. Like to most people,
No, that's a really, really good question. And there's been people I've tried to approach when I first started. I'm like, no, I'm staying. There hasn't been a lot of turnover.
okay,
A lot. There's been some shifts, obviously, in the market, and certain, I mean, the climate was, tough a couple of years ago, last year, sorry, the year before. But yeah, that's a really good point. There's not a lot of turnover. It's so hard to
even at partners as well.
100%, 100%, especially partners, because they've only got a handful of them, depending on the size of it. There's not a lot of salespeople in a lot of the partner ecosystem. So they will treat them really well, pay them really well, they hold up to them.
Yeah.
But at least in the Australian market. Yeah.
And so often salespeople don't leave because they're doing well and they've got this commission, they've got a client base, they're growing their commission rates, they're left them lose all that. So that makes me wonder, maybe it's a kind of not an easy thing to sell.
Yeah, it is.
Because like if you get ServiceNow doing leads, they've done a lot of the free work for you, you need to come do your part.
Yeah.
Make sure you do a crapper job and they'll be getting the gig.
Yeah. It is because I think what it comes down to, the success of the platform as a whole, is the flexibility, because it can do so much, right? And it's not limiting when the customer goes, oh, can I help me with this? Yes.
But I think it's not easy to sell because of the quality of the product. Like let me compare it to something like Salesforce, right? Similar things. Like, but I reckon that churn of salespeople at Salesforce is probably like 50%.
Yeah, I reckon.
You make 2 quarters, so you don't make 2 quarters, you're out. I reckon I've got no idea, but I assume that ServiceNow, the frontline salespeople, they probably have very high churn. They probably have that same Salesforce, AWS dumb mentality. Or Microsoft, you not perform, you do it, you're out very quickly.
Yeah.
So I reckon it's not easy to sell because it's a great product. It's probably easy to sell because you're coming in later in the process. That the front row sales rep, he's been sacked 3 times. There's 4 guys in there,
right?
And now he's doing the job.
Yeah,
he's done that first 6 months of selling to at least get served out to the table, to respond to the tender, or they've met the CTO, and now you're coming in at the back end.
Yes,
you just find a 3.
That's right.
And if you're getting 50%, well, you're doing better than average, right? You're doing better than most.
Yeah, I think so. And that's only recent. That's only been recently, and I think there's a lot of factors to that. I think one of the key things is just market confidence. Like people are just willing to.
Now they have more money.
They've got money, they've got budgets, they've got approvals. I think that's key.
So that will increase your leads, maybe not your conversions. I mean, we'll reach projects that don't go like so if you keep the same conversion and you increase that, will just grow well.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, that kind of makes sense why partners don't use their sales reps. They probably don't need many because we'll ServiceNow picking up the sales cost.
Yes.
And that's why they get each cut of it.
Correct.
It's almost like you're almost not a hunter, you're more like a farmer. You got to farm these Salesforce, so this ServiceNow relationships, and then you got to go and upsell each time.
Absolutely. That's why this is the first time in 2026 we're actually going hunting. As cold hunting as an organization. Absolutely. Yeah.
So if cold hunting is hard, and ServiceNow, Salesforce, Microsoft, they all have a 50% churn, why would you do that?
So those cycles take a while, but you're not in control. That's one of the key things. I wait for them to come to me. I mean, we have.
You know, like phone to you, right?
We're waiting for phone to you, right? We have strategy sessions. Obviously, a lot of the guys we meet all the time and talk all the time, but it's based on them having something. Whereas I need to control my pipeline directly and ensure that I know that I'm doing what I can on this side to be able to build that up. So that's one of the key reasons. And also, and it's really dependent, kind of, I don't go into too much, but it depends on who I pick in the UK. Do I go for a straight up hunter, or do I go for that person that does have deep ServiceNow, relationships and just rely on that again. So I need a balance. If I had to put silver bullet, it'd be that.
You can get somebody who does a bit of both.
Correct.
I still don't totally get why would you, because it's expensive to win new work.
It is.
It's insanely expensive.
It is.
And you're built this amazing situation where you're almost like upselling to existing clients, albeit their ServiceNow clients may not be your clients yet.
That's right.
So they already know that product. They're not comparing, you versus Salesforce versus other kind of past things.
They are.
Okay, so you'll do some new work.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We have to go up against other platforms.
So I guess the bulk of that effort of that work is probably done by ServiceNow.
Correct.
And you just have to do your
some of them. Yeah, some of it. As I was saying before, some of them we get into it whereby we have directly competing. We just happened recently in the last year. We are directly competing with other technology, and we have to say, maybe not just ServiceNow. Why would you choose ServiceNow? Yeah, there is a bit of that.
Okay, but in that world, surely you're giving up control, you're giving up margin, you've got a license fee, which is all fine. But you're giving up a lot of the cost and a lot of the grief.
Yeah, and I think but what I've found as well, and what I've seen with other partners is that we've been fortunate enough to be in that position. I don't think, I never take that for granted or, any success for granted, but I don't think that's the norm. I don't think that, become a partner, ServiceNow takes care of it. I don't think so.
So I agree it's not the norm, but I don't think it was an accident.
Okay.
I'm sure there's something you purposely did. You build great relationships, you do a good job, you get the customers happy.
Yeah.
They didn't get a lot of complaints. They get a complaint or using with it.
Exactly right.
It's probably not the norm, but I don't think it's an accident.
Okay.
So when you go to the UK, is this going to be ServiceNow account management, like flying off ServiceNow account managers and trying to get referrals?
Yes.
The same model?
Same one.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm just going to replicate what's worked for us here and just do it there. And the key thing is, summarizing what you've been saying, it only takes like one or two just to get going. One or two account managers, to get
going. To know you, to like you, to use it at work, you get a couple leads a month or whatever the right number is.
Correct. And then you just build up that momentum.
Get a reference sign out of them, they'll be happy with you.
Correct. But you've got to prove yourself. You've got to gain their trust. You've got to do the work at the end of the day. Because it's one thing to win a deal and an engagement, but if you stock it up, that's it. You're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
Why expand to the UK? Like, is Australia saturated for you?
100%. There's so many new partners. Like when I went to a conference last year, and there were 5 partners that had booths. I was like, I've never seen these people before. And the market, the ecosystem, and the community is so small. I'm like, it's all these new people, and it just popped up really, really quickly, And so, when I started, there were like 5. Now they're like 100.
Okay, wow,
it's ridiculous. And from the market for just organizations in general that would use ServiceNow, not that big. We don't have a lot of large scale companies here. So, from a numbers perspective, you're probably going to get maybe 10 major transformation projects a year within Australia, and then 100 partners going for it. That's what I'm competing against, and plus, again, we're not in that big 4 space. Every partner has their rank and their tier, but I just feel like, and hence why the US is sort of attractive to, because of space and scale. There's so much more, and there's more partners. I get it, but I feel that once you find that space, you have more options. Whereas here, you've got into a lot of different things. You have to go.
But how do you reconcile? I get this. So it's every man needs told 3 Salesforce consultants or ServiceNow consultants, Microsoft consultants get together,
correct,
and they set up their own consulting.
That's right.
How do you start?
Not really, because I'm on myself.
Oh, no, individuals don't by yourself. So I get that. I get why you've got like 1,000 players.
Yes.
But help me reconcile that against what you're saying about when you're getting more work. There's, you've got great relationships. You get invited to probably got the deals.
Yeah.
Does it not matter that there's lots of people, if you're the one to involved that has a great relationship with ServiceNow?
You don't win everything, and you still got that competition. But then it also becomes a race to the bottom.
Because when they don't win, they've got people on the bench, they've got a cost base, they're holding. They just want to get on
They
this
just want to
project.
get over care, and they absolutely go silly. And then, you've got the customer going, well,
You hold 30%. Oh,
exactly. So that works for us when we're going up against the bigger players. But when you're competing against people in your same, segment, it's up. It's like, because then I'm going to make a decision. Well, do I not make any money just to win, against people that are willing to do that?
and it's not fun to not make money.
Exactly. So why are you doing this? You know what I mean? And I think we're finally getting out of that phase where we have to, really eat eat less to get through. Like, we've proved ourselves, right? So why should we now, we're still competitive, but we don't have to win deals and lose money.
Yeah.
We're at that stage.
Okay. So if the market is not big enough for you to get the growth you want, you've got two choices, right? You can either expand geographic, which is obviously going to the UK.
Yes.
The other option is trying to sell more stuff to your existing clients.
Yes.
So, hey, we're going to just do ServiceNow. I don't know, we'll do some infrastructure money, and we'll do some other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Did you consider that as part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. That has been in my past. That's definitely been something I've done. And after doing that for a couple of years, I've realized that's not for me.
Why is that?
I enjoy doing ServiceNow. You've got to do something that you think is a good opportunity, that will bring you money, that will do all the things and tick all the boxes to really know if that's for you. And even if things are going really, really great with it, there'll always be a time where it gets hard. And those are going to be the times where it will really test you. Are you doing this for the right reasons? And so I learned going through that process, is I don't want to wake up and struggle doing something I don't really love.
Yeah, you're not, it's not your thing. Yes.
It's not my thing. And so, to answer your question, the reason why I was really open and entertained that model was that's what we did at Deloitte. We were able to walk into any customer that we can do it.
Anything in any scenario, you want to give us whatever you want.
Whatever we give it, right? And so it made sense to me from that perspective. But then I did that on my own. And I'm like, it's not for me.
Okay.
It's not for me. I really actually enjoy doing service now. It's easy.
Yeah. Well, nothing wrong with specializing. It's just something to consider.
Yeah.
And then how did you pick the UK? Because that's like 12 hour time zone.
I know, it's tough. It's tough. So it's really off the back of the success that we've had with the large scale global legal firm that is based in the UK. And so we're not
to an Aussie customer, were they? That they referred you in, or you won that directly to something?
So no, yeah. So it was really the Australian part of the business that we started talking to, and that, I guess, opened the doors for us for that to win that opportunity to build a relationship. Right, it was really starting with the Australian arm of the business, and then the head offices was in the UK, but a lot of the departments that we were building the capabilities for were in the UK and the rest of it. And so, doing that for a year and a half almost, you build up a tolerance for it.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah, you get used to it. It's tough to get used to it, but it just opened my eyes and made me realize, hang on a second, in the UK as a market segment, looking into it and dealing with people over there, dealing with ServiceNow UK, and then I was in the UK in November and just talking to other people there. It's like, this could work. I really, and it hasn't, like I said, the US was always the pipe dream for me. It wasn't even a consideration. And only in the last, say, 3 months, have I gone, we've got a global use case here. I've got people on the ground. It just makes so much sense. So and then obviously, seeing the limitations here of the Australian market, I'm like,
and they're not present in the UK? Like, there's not as dense, to competitors?
Oh, it is. It is. It's just, again, just like the US, this is more space for you to play in and more acceptance, or from a market acceptance of being a specialist. Here, if you were just to do, say, cyber, you wouldn't give me enough. No chance. Not enough like in the slightest. Over there, they've got partners that have been around for the last 8 years just doing one module. So I feel like, going over there and being a specialist just in itself is going to be, way more than, if it's successful, way more than what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, if that client wasn't in the UK, you didn't successfully get that deal, would you still have done the UK?
No, definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. That really opened my eyes and allowed us to expand. And it was, I won't say it was a forcing function, but because they wanted someone in country to support them, I had to hire. So I'm like, well, I'm hiring there. I don't have any customers in the US, based in the US. I don't even have a story to tell when I go there. At least when I go to the UK, I say, hey, we're,
What is Griffith side?
and it's a household name over there. Everyone knows the company. So it's like, oh, we're working with them. That already gives you some kind of validation and a bit of trust. So that's why it's all I'm saying. It's all these little nuanced organic things that are kind of leaning towards doing that. So
Yeah. And how much of your time was this going to take opening up in the UK?
a lot. I'm prepared. But and I think and it's a really good point, because I think psychologically what this last year and a half has done has, I guess, subconsciously shown me that I can do it, because we were doing like from 6 to like 11 p.m. meeting sessions, just one session after this team and this team and this team, like every single day, every day of the week. And if I hadn't done that, and I would have seen him go, I'm going to have to do that. It'll probably be a barrier for me, but I'm like, I'm working on it. Having one customer meeting, that's great compared to what I did. You know what I mean? If I got to do a 10 p.m. meeting for half an hour, it's easy. Instead of these 4 3-hour workshops with, these different teams. So I think that's probably, and it's a really good point. I think that's probably one of the factors that I can do this.
And can you do that and sort of unleash your own business?
Yeah. I've done it. I've had to do it. I've already done it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I spent so much time dealing with the UK time zone, and then had to wake up and then do it all straight. I've already done it. So it's tiring.
It's very tiring. You've got that in you.
I've got that in me.
Yeah.
I just, because it's exciting. It's new. And the UK is new. I've someone I've always connected with, and so especially after going there and that one, it's a cool place, and that's the motivation. Just that alone gives you that spark that it's new. So, and it feels like, actually, it's just like, when I started planning for it and doing all the okay, this is what we're going to do, it felt like I was stuck getting the same vibe.
It's what you back to the part that you enjoyed the most, right? Of your career after this fact.
Yes, exactly. It's like, this is cool.
So I get why you love it. I guess why it makes sense. And we've got a client there that there's a ton of load of it. Those 3 or 4 people mostly pay for themselves. You have to.
Correct. That's the goal.
That makes sense. So I always think you want your best people on your hardest problem. And to open up in the UK is like 10x harder than winning a client here, right?
Yeah.
Because here you've got heaps of reference sites, lots of local infrastructure. In the UK, you might have one client or 2, 3 people, but that's hard to solve.
Yeah.
It is a much, much harder sell.
It is. But I will answer that. We do have global references. So it's not just Australian companies that we can say we've worked with. So I think that also gives us a bit
It might make it easy, but it's still all you need 10x harder than Australia.
Oh, 100%.
Because you're here, you sound like a local. Extra things, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
It's not that it's not undoable. It will just be 10x harder. And if it's 10x harder, you'd be based in the UK for a couple of years.
I've thought about that 100%. And so that is definitely not tenable. It's not something it's cold with me.
Yeah, it's like that's like
it's not something. Nah.
Not for 12 months, 6 months.
No.
I don't know what some
right? Yeah. The US, maybe. I'm thinking about that. That I'll probably do, but that's a future decision I need to make. But the 100%, I have thought about this, and I really think because we've had so much success with other global customers being based in Australia, I don't see that as a barrier to entry. Me not being on the ground, I am going to spend time, don't get me wrong, but not to your point of sitting straight 6 months there and 12 months, right? So I was there in November. I'm going to go again in the next couple of months, and then maybe again towards the end of the year. So I will be present, and I think the appetite is different now from an engagement perspective because of COVID and the rest of it. Yeah.
So I hear all that. I've seen so many companies try to expand to another region, and it just not works.
Okay.
I'm on the board of 2 companies doing that right now.
Right. Okay.
And what it often is like I said, you want your best person on your hardest problem. And you being in London is just different to you being here.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure whenever you go, you still have all these amazing meetings to meet people face to face. Even if your teams to be like, oh yeah, I'm in this part of town, come to like you just build it more local. I was just reckon you being there, you've got a lot more likelihood of winning a deal.
Okay.
Is that fair to say? Just
I think said, I absolutely agree with you. And so that's why this decision for the salesperson, I'm just like, now I've got to nail that, because I have more chance of them, being there because I could hire someone here and try to sell it from here, right? I could do that myself. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And the other advantage to putting in your best person, in this case, your hunts from opening up a new market, is let's just say you get a salesperson that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You've had him for a year, and you're just not making what you expected to make.
Yeah.
How do you figure out what went wrong? Was the salesperson or was the market? How do you unpack that?
It's a great question, and that's the risk. I have no answer to that. That's the risk, right? Because you've just got to solve the problem the best way that you can do. And as you know, with business, there's always that element of luck, of fortune, right?
It is, but when it doesn't work, you've got to untangle what caused it.
And look at where it went wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my suggestion would be is the only way you can do that is experience for yourself firsthand.
Okay.
So if you're actually in that meeting, which you kind of do online, remote, but
that's the intent.
But a good graph would have like a good salesperson does live remote.
Yeah.
They go on site, or have a figure the person the guy for lunch afterwards.
Yeah.
Unless you're there to experience it firsthand, how else can you untangle? Was it the rep or was it the or maybe this AI and specialist thing is not working? Because the sales rep will just tell you whatever they need to tell you to save their job.
Yeah.
And buy it another 3 months.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you do that?
That's a good question. I think it's really obviously trying to get feedback is going to be key, right? Of why we lost.
The feedback you get will be filtered by your sales rep.
No, not from maybe from the ServiceNow person.
You have a direct relationship with them.
Correct. Yeah. I feel like the majority of our initial opportunities will come through ServiceNow UK. And I think that if that's the case, there's not going to be anywhere for them to hide, right? Because they're going to be critiqued, they're going to be in front of these people, right? But for the people, for the opportunities where they're not, it's going to be difficult, 100%. And it's something that I'm going to have to look at. I think it's a numbers game as well, because if they're going for, say, 50 customers and we don't win, then we know that we're not targeting either the right ones or not. If we're getting meetings with 40 people out of those 50, then there's something happening, in those meetings that is either going right or wrong.
So that won't help you untangle whether it's the rep.
Yeah.
Because the rep will tell you, oh, too expensive. The rep will tell you, oh, the price is on hold when actually maybe got signed up. They'll tell you, oh, they want to do it on one call for, they don't like that.
Yeah.
The head office is in the colony, right? So I just wonder, unless you're actually physically there, and it might not be moving there for 6 months, right? It might be a crappy 2-week fly kind of deal. You fly out.
Which is something I could definitely, maybe not 2 weeks, but whatever. I think there's a need for a cadence, for sure. I think I agree with you there. Yeah, for sure.
Because I reckon if you don't do that, if I was to crystal ball, like tell the year's time if I was right or wrong.
Absolutely.
I reckon you'll get there.
Yep.
You'll be so excited at the 3 month period when, oh my God, it's so amazing. We've got all these leads, they've got all these deep connections like Thomas, which I've never met a rep who's actually had deep connections.
So,
and then you'll have this hype cycle, and then it'll slowly wither away. And at some point in the year's time, you'll be questioning yourself, why is this not working? And in the inventory manager will just sat there and get another one.
Yeah.
Thinking we'll probably come with a because that's the only data point you have. But I'm talking to this person that's on the exact same thing week after week after week. And I'm still not actually getting closer to me.
Yeah.
It's from the rep. Let me sack and get something else.
Yeah.
And say, but next person will have the exact same scenario. My experience with sales reps, I reckon 25% succeed.
No.
I reckon 75%. Your ones selling to ServiceNow are different. They're more like account managers kind of thing.
Correct.
Yes. Something to cold, I reckon 25% succeed. Well, if you look at the people that then in frontline ServiceNow, frontline Salesforce, it was probably about 25% have been there for more than a couple of years.
Yeah.
And the other 75% have been there like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
And you kind of hope they'll make it
through. Yeah. But here's the defining factor for me is the first 6 months. Right. So if nothing happens in that first 6 months, then I'm making that decision then early. I'm not going to your point, I'm not waiting a year for no sales.
So, but I guess the point, it's not about making a decision, is you won't know what decision to make. Something that might be totally the right thing. But you won't know whether it was then or whether it was something else.
Yeah. Okay, I get you. It makes that.
Because when you don't, like, you kind of got the symptom, you're not getting enough sales.
Yes.
You actually won't be able to figure out the cause unless you're there
to actually experience it. Right?
You've got to experience it firsthand. You've got to experience like reality for yourself, not through filtered views of other people. And that's what happens when you're a manager. You just get more and more distracted at what's existing on the ground. And then you end up being a hearsay, right? Like someone below you tells you what the client said because you didn't talk to the client. And that's totally normal as you move, because you're kind of moving from a managerial role where you're managing people directly to more like an exec role where you're managing people that's managing teams.
That's right. That's exactly what's happening. And that's where this new phase is taking us, right? There's now becoming layers of management. So.
And you have heard the concept of the fog of war?
Yes.
Yep. So the fog of war, that's, when there's only so much you can see and you're on the side based on what you see.
Yes.
And your fog of war will actually get very narrow in your organization. You'll see less. And you'll have those less little interactions that get your spidey sense going like, oh, something's right, something's wrong.
Yeah. And that's happening from a technical perspective. Now that I'm stepping out of development, I absolutely know it.
Yeah, but because the development looks at things like, that's not feel right.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not that close. I wasn't in the conversation. I don't know what the customers get.
So you've got to wait for them to say 5 times. You're like, okay, let me go validate.
Yeah.
Let me go ask Gemini, ChatGPT.
Right? Yeah. That's a really good point. So I think that's, you've given me a lot of food for thought in terms of proximity. I think that's where we're looking at from a gap perspective is proximity to the sales in the UK, right?
But the problem you're going to find, so now let's just say a week or whatever the case is, right? You say 25% of my time just for the next 6 months, right? Just so I can quickly figure out got the right person. If not, let me sack them against someone else real quick.
Yeah.
If I have the right person, that they actually feel like they're part of the Agiro, they feel loyalty to me, they feel like people care for them. They feel like the mothership is actually best.
Yes.
And there might be you, there might be a delivery person next month, there might be a training person next month. Like they're seeing someone, right?
Yeah.
And they're experiencing someone.
That's
the downside is you'll end up neglecting Australia.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So you're looking at UK, your likely family manager's going to call you like, hey, we've got a meeting Tuesday next week. Here's the address. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
So the question, I guess, for you then, based on that, which is amazing, and thank you. How do I look at and identify what I should be freeing up? Because you always, you're thinking best person on the job and the rest of it. But for me, how do I make that decision?
So part of it is you want to figure out what it is that you're doing right now. That if it was 90% okay, that would be okay.
Okay.
So doing doing an expense claim, right? If someone was only 90% as good as you, that would be fine.
Yeah.
And so it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Meeting a client, well, no, you don't want to screw that up. That's a front end of revenue.
Okay.
You probably don't want to get rid of that.
Sure. Okay.
And you want to actually start hiving off all the things that you're doing that you don't need to do. Like one super easy way to do it when I first started was you get 3 EAs up in the Philippines.
Okay.
You get 3 EAs. You pay them across all 3. You pay them say $6,000 a month.
Okay.
And you just literally, if they're good EAs, you run like a loom and you just record what you do, like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, and you give them that recording and you say, here's what I do. Which part is what I do can you do?
Okay. That's interesting.
And 3 weeks later, you sack 2 of them and you keep the one that actually says,
right,
that's what I can do. I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you.
Right.
Because you want to almost outsource the need to figure out what you can untangle.
Yeah.
Often founders can't untangle.
This is, now that I'm hearing and digesting what you're saying, I'm like, what do I even, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So try that.
Okay.
Try that.
So you loom everything that you do.
Like this moment you wake up, just loom it all. And if you can do it for a couple of days, even do a voiceover about what you're thinking as you do the task, just so they can start thinking about, okay, that's why he's doing that. That's why he's doing that. Have them sit into your calls. And they'll pick up things, right? They'll be like, oh, okay, so after you have a meeting, if you have a transcript, I'll draft up your automatic reply, which AI does a lot of that anyway. But
That's true. Yeah.
like there'll be stuff like that, right? They can be like, you tend to not have breaks between meetings, so these tasks don't get done. But then you do them at 10 p.m. at night to clean up all the stuff you couldn't do.
Yeah.
You want me to do the first cut of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you spend a lot of
Okay.
time stuffing around with PowerPoints, moving stuff around, which is right?
a lot of that.
Or every time you have a new meeting, you get the last PowerPoint, you change these 17 things. So
That's my life, Saurabh.
yeah,
That is literally my life.
so what a good EA would be like, okay, well, 2 weeks before any meeting, I'll have your PowerPoints ready in your folder in OneDrive.
What?
And I'll just send you a 30-second loom to tell you, here's what I've done.
But then how do they get it's because I've got to get, really specific with those. I just want to deep dive in this because this is such a problem for me. How do nuances of ServiceNow and specifics and how do you get to that level?
You get someone smart.
Yeah.
So for example, my last year, unfortunately, she's left me now, but she was a medical doctor.
Oh, wow.
She was a hematologist.
Oh, wow.
She was paid $10 US an hour. So she was paid more than the local doctor in the Philippines. And damn, she was smart.
Jeez.
Smarter than me. So go find a ServiceNow pre-sales tech in the Philippines or Indonesia or India.
Yeah.
And make them your EA.
Man. Yes. There's your nugget. There's your goal that will save me so much time.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. That is
Super.
such a great idea, honestly.
Because then they'll be 80% as good as you. And you can always check their work anyway.
Yeah, you can tweak it. But I mean, that's the hardest part is just starting and finding the headspace to go, okay, all right, this customer, what do they want, blah, 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 and sitting down and actually building it. If I get that and it's pre-baked, even if I'm changing one or two, it's amazing. Yeah.
And then every time you fix it, you'll do a loom to be like, oh, that was wrong, that was wrong, that was wrong.
Right.
And what you'll do over time is you want to systematize the onboarding process. So you'll save all these looms of all the corrections you've made. And pretty soon you'll have 50 looms of corrections. So that guy goes, the next person you onboard, here's my training, here's my onboarding. Go learn this, we'll start in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, wow.
So you can cycle through these people. Or let's just say that person gets pulled into a project, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we've got some work. They don't know to give it to. Oh, we'll still Merv's EA.
Yeah.
So the next EA you get, you'll just give them that as your onboarding.
And it's already there.
It's already there, pre-baked. You got your voiceover, you're correcting stuff.
That's great. That alone, you're talking about like shifting, and man, that will take so much time off my plate.
Oh, brilliant.
That's
so I reckon if you do that plus the rep, plus the time,
yeah,
those three things could solve this for you.
100%, because that takes so much time. Because it's also, for me personally, and where I get caught up in is, because I'm a visual person, and so I spend so much time designing. So if I can get someone just to do the initial designs, because that's fiddly, we're just talking about editing it.
Yeah,
so fiddly. It just, you've got to sit outside like hours to do that for me. If someone's doing that in parallel, I'm doing, that's amazing, man. That is amazing. I think that alone is going to have a big effect.
And if you recruit right, you might find somebody who's better at design than you.
Oh, 100% they'll be me. I do as good as I can, but like an actual person that does design will smash it.
Yeah.
That's me. That's awesome.
Totally. And then over time, what you might do is set up an org structure. So you have your EA, but you'll give them a designer that can do design work for them 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. Oh, right. So they can do the part, ServiceNow part. They've got a designer in-house or external Upwork, whatever. They do their little part. You just get the finished package.
Wow. How have you found, sorry, because I know that you've got sort of dedicated EAs, but in terms of finding them and getting them, are these people like from the Upworks and Fivers, or are these people part of, because I've looked in a very, very high level, and this is more so, I guess, from a BD perspective, but you got those agencies, Philippines and the rest of it. Where did you find yours, or is there a directive that you could recommend, go to this or try that or whatever?
Yeah. So look, in the same way, if one of your clients buys from you, you're going to charge more, right? Because you've got to make a margin.
Sure. And
you hold the risk that they don't otherwise have to hold. Sure. And then you'll pay your guys less.
Yeah.
So the really, really great Salesforce consultants, I reckon, just go it on their own, bro. Because they totally can. It's the exact same up in the Philippines. Like, I'd never go from an agency. Oh, you'll pay 50% more.
Yeah. Because
they make a really good margin, and that's fair. They hold risk, they don't hold, but then they pay the people less.
Yeah.
So they get crappier people.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're better off, you go with an Upwork, you take them off platform after a couple of weeks, you pay them directly. There's heaps of tech that does that for you.
Yeah.
And you'll pay them 30% more than their local salary.
Wow.
Which will still be 20%. Yeah, which will still be 20% less than
you're getting from
an agency.
and they will treat you like gold. They will be so thankful for the work,
It's amazing.
and they'll work really hard.
Yeah. Done.
Don't do that.
I'm doing that for
Okay.
sure. Because it's been
Well,
something I've
yeah.
been thinking about in the background, but I'm like, is it going to be effective? Am I just going to be spending money? Is it the right thing to do? Right. But that's it.
And the other thing you might do in 6 months' time, if that works for you, is then scale that across your exec team. Is to get a lot of these other people in your team to get like an offshore EA and pay the EA 10 grand a year or something.
Okay.
So instead of always adding more domestic heads, add lower skilled, lower cost heads.
For that sort of stuff, right?
For that sort of stuff.
Would it work? I mean, this is how long is a piece of string, but a shared sort of resource, or should it really be a one-to-one EA?
Well, it kind of depends. I think for you want one-to-one.
Okay.
Because the reason I had 3 was I wanted someone around 24 hours, literally, right? Because I'll be working at 5 o'clock in the morning, working at midnight, and I just want someone there all the time. So I had staggered stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
But for you, I think it's just one-on-one for now. Just kind of get it working. And then over time, you might have a pool. You might have 2 or 3 people. You just know that person's better at design, that person's better at attention to detail. And sometimes you'll give both the same task just because you want 2 options. So here's a brief that I've gotten from a prospect. Here's my loom.
Yep.
Because every time you give them work, don't call them, loom them.
Yeah.
Then they can replay. You can send 2 people at once.
Yeah.
And you say, here's my brief. Can you go do this task?
Okay.
I do that for holiday planning. You send it to 3 EAs and you get 3 options.
Yeah, right.
I want to go to Thailand in between this day, figure out something for me.
And then you get those. Yeah.
And I get 3 options. And I just pick the one that I like.
That works.
Yeah.
Or a combination.
Totally.
That's so cool. Done.
Perfect. Awesome. So how do we go? So let's just summarize. So how do I get the right salesperson? How do I manage them? Well, what was your key takeaways?
So I think one of the key things, and I might tie into another point, but I think an overarching approach, for lack of a better term, proximity, and knowing exactly what is working and what is not, and making sure I filter out excuses and also understand experience, because it might not even be their fault. It's just because of whatever, right? But knowing that, and I think the only way I'm going to do that is through proximity. So that's one of my key takeaways.
You got to experience it for yourself.
I got to experience it for myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's something that I didn't think of, and I'd like to thank you. That's great. Yeah.
Brilliant. Awesome. Well, last question I always ask on these podcasts is, well, what is something that you've always known to be true that later on you found actually wasn't?
Jeez, that's a very profound
It's a profound question, yeah?
I think the notion, or the romantic idea of starting a business, you have to be an expert or really good at starting a business. You don't. You really don't. I think people that are successful in businesses aren't people that have gone to Harvard or have MBAs and the rest of it. I feel like they're the people that have been resilient, that haven't given up.
They have the grit to continue going through.
They're not they don't have to be the smartest, most intelligent people in their field, but they have to be the most resilient. And that's something that I've learned going through my journey.
Yeah, that makes it. And plus, a lot of the people that start businesses and are successful are actually not that great at the start.
That's right.
They build the competencies on the way through.
Correct.
And then you see the end result of this rock. So you're like, oh, I don't have that. I can't do that.
Because that's all we see. We see this image of that rock star that has made their $1 million, billion, whatever gajillion dollar business, but it's like everyone's got to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
It's okay not to know. That's why I always tell people, it's okay not to know.
Yeah.
Just learn. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very
for coming
much.
out.
That was amazing. And I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to be a guest, make sure you hit me up and do follow me on socials, and make sure you check out future episodes. Thanks, guys.